How high-value men speak to women, make her miss you badly. High-value men, old Stoic wisdom. Ever notice how some men seem to have the ability to capture a woman's attention effortlessly? It's not their looks, their wealth, or their social standing. It's how they speak. High-value men understand something that most don't: the power of words. Their words don't just fill the air. They create lasting impressions that leave a woman missing them, even when they're not around. So, what's the secret? It's not about trying to impress. It's about speaking with purpose, clarity, and the kind of confidence that demands respect. When you speak in this way, you change the game. You'll become the man who's always on her mind, even after you've said your goodbyes. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly how to speak to a woman in a way that makes her long for you. Not because you're playing games, but because you're communicating from a place of true value and mastery. This wisdom, grounded in Stoic philosophy, will forever alter the way you engage with women. Pay attention, because this knowledge will empower you like nothing else. The power of first impressions. Emotional impact. Words are cheap, and anyone can string together a few sentences. In the world of Stoicism, the wise man is not loud, not desperate for validation, and never reactive to the chaos around him. He moves with calm purpose and speaks with intention. And this stillness, this mastery of the emotional self, is what creates a magnetic presence in the eyes of a woman. High-value men understand something that average men overlook entirely. Words, in and of themselves, are cheap. Anyone can mimic charming phrases, copy clever lines, or string together sentences from a dating app script. But what separates the ordinary from the exceptional is not in what's being said, it's in what's being felt. A high-value man doesn't aim to impress with verbal glitter. He aims to leave a lasting emotional impression. Because women, by nature, are deeply emotional beings. What lingers in their memory isn't the clever joke or the surface-level compliment. It's how a man made them feel in his presence. That emotional impact becomes the invisible thread that pulls her thoughts back to him when he's no longer around. And so, when he speaks, he doesn't try to dominate the space. He tries to create a moment that lingers. The Stoics taught that words without virtue are noise. Similarly, high-value men speak with the intention of connecting, not performing. They may begin a conversation with light, small talk, not because they care about the weather or what she had for lunch, but to ease into a rhythm that leads somewhere meaningful. They pivot quickly. From surface-level pleasantries, they shift into questions that cut deeper, bypassing the noise of modern dating games and unlocking a woman's inner world. These men are not afraid to probe into what excites her soul. They'll ask, "What's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?" Or, "What's the one thing about you people misunderstand the most?" These aren't random questions. They're emotional keys, and each answer she gives pulls her deeper into her own self-awareness, guided by his presence. It's in this emotional exploration that she begins to associate him with meaning. He's not just another man. He becomes the mirror reflecting her own depth, her dreams, her hidden fears, and her unspoken desires. Modern life is loud and shallow. Social media has taught people to speak fast, move on faster, and never really feel anything deeply. So when a man slows down the rhythm, looks her in the eye, and asks something that makes her pause and feel it shocks the system in the best way, the high-value man uses this opportunity not to show off, but to draw her inward. His questions become invitations. His tone becomes a calm sanctuary in a world that constantly demands performance. And when she walks away, it's not just the conversation she remembers, it's the emotion she felt while having it. That's the emotional fingerprint he leaves behind, and it stays with her longer than charm ever could. But it's not just about asking the right questions. Emotional impact also comes from sharing, and this is where storytelling becomes a subtle but potent tool. The Stoics didn't just preach philosophy, they told stories about Marcus Aurelius sitting alone in his tent during war, reflecting not on victory but on virtue, about Epictetus Once a slave, finding freedom through mental discipline. Stories carry emotion in ways facts cannot. High-value men understand this instinctively, so when they speak, they weave narratives, not to boast, but to build bridges. They might share a story about a time they took a spontaneous road trip, not to brag, but to convey a spirit of freedom and spontaneity. Or they may speak of a failure, a moment where things didn't go as planned, revealing their humanity, humility, and the lessons they carried forward. The power of a well-told story is that it bypasses logic and dives into emotion. It makes a woman feel like she's living it with him. That shared emotional experience, even if imagined, becomes real in the mind, and it creates closeness, resonance, and unforgettable warmth. The beauty lies in subtlety. The goal is never to impress with grandiose tales, but to draw her into the texture of your life. When a man talks about being lost in a foreign city and the kindness of a stranger who helped him find his way back, it's not just a story about travel. It's a window into his openness, his ability to trust, his experience of vulnerability. These are powerful cues that signal emotional depth, and when she listens to him speak, she feels connected to something more meaningful than the typical masculine facade. She sees him as grounded, wise, and real, and this authenticity becomes irresistible in a world full of masks. Now, the truly skilled man understands the power of what we call emotional hooks. These are moments, phrases, or emotional beats within a conversation that stick with her long after the talk ends. Just like a catchy melody lingers in the mind, an emotional hook is a moment where something lands deep. It could be a compliment, yes, but not the kind that revolves around beauty, which she hears 100 times a day. Instead, it's something like, "There's a fire in your voice when you talk about your work. It's rare to see someone that alive." It's specific, it's sincere, and more importantly, it's about who she is, not what she has. That hook wraps itself around her sense of identity, and it resonates. It makes her feel seen, and feeling seen is more powerful than being praised. Even something playful, a tease about how stubborn she is when she's passionate, can become a hook if done with charm and warmth. A shared laugh over a silly memory, a quirky observation, a line that becomes an inside joke between the two of you. These are emotional bookmarks in her mind. They become little pockets of intimacy, tiny moments that replay in her mind when she least expects it. That's how a high-value man makes a woman miss him, not by always being available or over-explaining himself, but by planting these emotional seeds that grow in the quiet moments after he's gone. He becomes the thought that lingers during a quiet evening drive, or when she hears a song that echoes something he once said. In a world that glorifies instant gratification and superficial connection, the high-value man stands apart because he's not trying to win the race, he's building something lasting. Stoicism teaches us to act with deliberation, to speak with purpose, and to love with wisdom. And in modern relationships, this manifests in emotional presence. It means showing up not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. It means listening deeply, not to respond, but to understand. It means knowing that sometimes silence speaks louder than words, and that the space you leave in a conversation can be more powerful than filling it with noise. A man who understands this becomes unforgettable. He speaks less, but every word lands. He laughs not to please, but because joy is real. He listens, not as a tactic, but as a reflection of his inner calm, and that calm becomes her emotional anchor. So if you want to make her miss you, not just in body but in soul, don't chase, don't overtext, don't flood her with empty affirmations. Speak like a man who has lived. Ask like a man who truly wants to know. Share like a man who has nothing to prove. Let your presence be the calm in her storm, the depth in her shallow world, the steadiness she never knew she needed. And then step back. Because the Stoic man knows true power lies not in forcing emotions, but in evoking them so deeply that she chooses to feel them again, even in his absence. That is the art of emotional impact. That is how a high-value man speaks. And that is why she'll miss you, not for what you said, but for what you made her feel. 2. The mystery factor. Mystery is an underappreciated art in modern dating, especially in a world where people are used to oversharing on social media. High-value men know that revealing everything too soon takes away the excitement and intrigue from the interaction. Women are naturally drawn to things they don't fully understand, and that's exactly why being slightly mysterious can be incredibly attractive. The psychology behind mystery. The psychology behind this is simple. When something is unknown or only partially revealed, our brains crave resolution. We tend to obsess over things that aren't fully clear because we want to figure them out. High-value men use this to their advantage. From the very first moment a high-value man speaks, he offers just enough information to pique her interest, but not enough to satisfy her curiosity. For example, if she asks what he does for work, he might respond, "It's a little complicated, but I enjoy it." This small response leaves her with more questions, meaning she'll think about him later, replaying the conversation in her mind and trying to figure him out. She'll want to know more, and that's precisely what makes her miss him. Deliberate ambiguity. The key here is to be deliberate with your ambiguity. High-value men don't avoid questions to be frustrating. They use ambiguity as a way to keep the conversation flowing. It's about showing enough while leaving certain things unsaid. For instance, if she asks about your hobbies or what you enjoy doing in your free time, instead of listing everything, you could say, "I've been working on a project that's really exciting. I'll tell you about it sometime." This response leaves her wondering what it is, and her curiosity grows. She'll look forward to the next conversation because she's eager to hear the story. Mystery isn't about being evasive, it's about creating a sense of depth. High-value men understand that they don't need to share every detail about their lives to spark a woman's interest. In fact, the less you reveal, the more she'll fill in the blanks with her imagination, often making you even more intriguing than if you shared too much. Strategic silence. Another essential aspect of mystery is knowing when not to speak. In many conversations, silence can be uncomfortable for some, but high-value men thrive in these moments. They allow the quiet to build a bit of tension. If you're always filling in the gaps, you never give her the space to think about her feelings. High-value men will let moments of quiet linger after delivering a particularly intriguing statement or question. These brief pauses not only convey confidence, but also create suspense. Imagine asking her a deep or thought-provoking question, and instead of immediately following up, you let the silence linger. This silence compels her to process the conversation more deeply, creating a moment of intimacy that words alone cannot provide. She'll remember that conversation far more vividly because it was more than just words exchanged. It was an emotional experience, playing the long game. The beauty of mystery is that it's most effective when combined with patience. You're not trying to reveal everything in the first few meetings. High-value men play the long game, understanding that a slow burn is often more powerful than instant attraction. By revealing just a little bit at a time, you keep her engaged over the long term. Each time she interacts with you, she'll want to know just a bit more because you're not laying everything out at once. She'll continue thinking about you in between meetings, trying to figure you out. This gradual reveal builds tension and anticipation, making her miss you even more when you're not around. The mystery keeps her coming back, wanting to uncover more layers of who you are. 3. Setting the stage for lasting attraction. In the quiet strength of a high-value man lies an ancient truth, one that dates back to the Stoic masters who taught that true power is silent, composed, and deliberate. When it comes to attracting a woman in a way that makes her miss you deeply, not because of what you say, but because of how you made her feel. First impressions are not just important, they are everything. A high-value man doesn't walk into a conversation with the desperate need to win approval or admiration. He doesn't oversell his accomplishments or flex his ego to capture attention. Instead, he sets the stage with subtlety and restraint, planting an emotional seed that will continue to grow in her mind long after he's left the room. Unlike the average man who rushes to impress with flashy stories, expensive cologne, or forced wit. The Stoic man understands that women remember not what you did, but how you made them feel in that fleeting initial moment. First impressions are the most lasting, said Samuel Johnson, and in the world of high-value attraction, that impression must be crafted not through flash, but through presence. Now pause for a moment and imagine this. A man enters a room, not seeking attention, but naturally drawing it, simply by the way he carries himself. His posture is upright, shoulders relaxed but firm, each step measured with quiet intent. There's no anxiety in his eyes, no rush in his voice. He speaks with calm authority, not because he needs to be heard, but because he respects the weight of his words. This is the unspoken language of confidence, and confidence, true confidence, is never loud. It's carved from self-respect, built through battles won in silence, and projected through presence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This is the code high-value men live by. They don't perform, they embody. And that embodiment becomes magnetic. When you speak with poise, when your words are few but intentional, you compel her to lean in. Not just physically, but emotionally. In a world filled with noise, your silence becomes a song she wants to hear again. But confidence alone is not enough. What separates the truly magnetic man from the rest is his emotional discipline. A high-value man is not shaken by teasing, sarcasm, or emotional games. When she tests him, and she will, he doesn't react with neediness or defensiveness. Instead, he smiles, maybe even raises an eyebrow, and plays the game with calm amusement. This is not manipulation. It's mastery. Emotional control signals strength, not the brute kind, but the kind that tells her, I can weather storms without losing myself. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Women sense this immediately. When you don't flinch, don't explain, don't chase validation, she begins to associate you with security. Something every woman is drawn to on a deep, instinctive level. She may not even realize why she's thinking about you after the date, but it's because you didn't chase her emotions. You made her feel grounded in yours. And while the world often teaches men that grand gestures and gifts are the way to a woman's heart, the Stoic man knows otherwise. The truth is, subtlety is power. The way you look at her when she speaks, not interrupting, but listening. The way your hands remain still, composed, not nervously twitching. The way your tone stays calm, with no desperation to impress. These micro-movements say far more than words. Women read body language like a second language, often without even knowing it. High-value men understand this. They make eye contact without staring. They nod to show understanding, not to win approval. And when they smile, it's genuine, not forced. There's a difference between the man who smiles to make her like him and the man who smiles because he's already at peace with himself. That smile lingers in her memory long after you've said goodbye. But here's the part most men never understand, and it's what sets the Stoic man apart in today's hyper-exposed world. Mystery. Yes, mystery is magnetic. In an age where oversharing is the norm, where social media has stripped away most boundaries, the man who keeps parts of himself hidden becomes an enigma. And people don't forget enigmas. High-value men understand that revealing too much too soon robs the connection of its natural rhythm. A bit of mystery stirs curiosity, and curiosity creates emotional investment. She wants to know more, and in that desire she starts to replay your moments together, looking for clues. This is how longing is born. It's not in what you give her, it's in what you withhold, with grace. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry once wrote, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Your silence, your mystery, should be that sea. Real-life Stoic wisdom doesn't just apply to love, it applies to your entire life. Whether you're at work, at home, or out in the world, embodying this presence makes you a man of depth. Think about the strongest, most influential men you've known. Were they loud and reactive, or were they composed and intentional? Likely the latter. High-value men do not just seek to attract women, they seek to build legacies, and that starts with how they carry themselves every day. In relationships, these men are not chasing attention, they are drawing respect. They don't dominate conversations, they elevate them. They don't explain their worth, they live it. And over time, women begin to feel safe in their presence, because she senses that you don't just know who you are unshakable in it. This is where the true magic begins. When you combine presence, emotional control, and a touch of mystery, you create not just attraction, but longing. You leave a mental fingerprint on her memory, one that other men can't erase. Because where others rush in with flashy tricks and short-lived charm, you move like a man who has seen storms and remained still. You become unforgettable, not because you tried to be, but because you allowed her to feel something real. Women don't miss the man who chased them. They miss the man who challenged them emotionally, intellectually, and energetically. They miss the man who didn't need them, but made them feel seen. And so, my advice to you, the man seeking to rise above mediocrity and step into the realm of the Stoic, high-value man, is this: slow down. Speak less, but say more. Be present, but not performative. Listen deeply, but share sparingly. Let her discover you piece by piece, not all at once. Hold your emotional ground, not with force, but with grace. And when the time comes to walk away from the conversation, do so knowing that if you've done it right, she'll be thinking about you long after you've gone. That is power. That is Stoic attraction. Now it's your turn. I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced the power of silence in a conversation? Have you seen how confidence without words can shift the energy in a room? Drop your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Let's talk about what it truly means to embody this wisdom in today's world, because at the end of the day, the world doesn't need more men trying to impress. It needs more men who can lead with quiet strength, unshakable peace, and timeless presence. That is what makes her miss you, and that is what sets you apart. 4. The power of absence. Understanding the push-pull dynamic. A high-value man is not desperate for attention. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't flood her inbox. Why? Because he understands the ancient power of absence, the art of emotional withdrawal after connection, the strength in retreat. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. It's old Stoic wisdom in motion. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." A high-value man lives this truth. He knows that emotional self-restraint is strength. He knows when to engage and when to vanish like smoke in the wind. He understands the push-pull dynamic, not as a tactic, but as a law of emotional gravity. He shows up fully when he's present, grounded, confident, eyes locked into hers, words deliberate and sparse. He makes her feel seen, truly seen. Then he disappears. No explanation, no follow-up, no breadcrumb trail, just silence. And in that silence, something powerful happens. Her mind begins to rewind the moments. She replays the tone of his voice, the depth in his eyes, the calm strength he carried. She begins to crave that presence again, like a fire that left its warmth behind. This is not just romance, it's psychological reality. The mind amplifies what it cannot access. That's the key. Too much of anything, even attention, becomes noise. Emotional overexposure dulls impact. But space? Space sharpens memory. Space invites longing. Space makes her chase. That's what high-value men understand. He doesn't need to flood her with messages because he's already left a mark on her emotions, her imagination, her soul. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A high-value man doesn't need her validation because he is already full, already grounded. He knows his worth. That's why his absence is powerful. It's felt. It creates contrast, and contrast builds desire. He is the calm in a chaotic world. He's the storm she never saw coming, and the peace she never wants to lose. In today's world, most men lose their edge the moment they hit send. They fall into the trap of constant communication, texting back instantly, pouring attention with no restraint. But here's the truth. What is always available is never truly desired. Let that sink in. If she never has time to wonder about you, to miss you, to imagine what you're doing, then you've robbed her of the most powerful emotion in attraction: anticipation. Think about it. When was the last time a woman truly yearned for you? Not because you were chasing her, but because you weren't. That's the space where obsession is born. A high-value man knows this. He doesn't react, he decides. He might wait hours before responding, maybe a day, not out of arrogance, but intention, because he's busy building, busy winning, busy leading. He's not ignoring her, he's honoring his time. And in doing so, he forces her to realize just how rare he is. This isn't a game. This is discipline. This is strategy. This is emotional gravity. She wonders, why hasn't he texted? Her friends notice her checking her phone. Her curiosity turns to craving, her craving to pursuit. And suddenly, the roles reverse. You're no longer the man chasing validation. You're the man she's trying to figure out. The man who's calm, composed, and unbothered. That's stoic power. That's masculine mastery. In the words of Seneca, he who is brave is free. A high-value man is emotionally brave. He can walk away. He can wait. He doesn't fear her silence because he's comfortable in his own. That's what separates men from boys in the arena of attraction. Modern life has made most men emotionally impatient. Social media, dating apps, texting. They've conditioned men to fear silence, to equate it with rejection. But here's what you must understand. Silence is your weapon. Used correctly, it builds mystery. It amplifies presence. It transforms your value from common to rare. And women chase what is rare. You must condition yourself to enjoy solitude, to embrace the quiet. That's where power is born. High-value men live by this. They aren't needy. They aren't reactive. They aren't glued to their phones, wondering what she thinks. They're sculpting their mission, their body, their legacy. And that energy, that masculine focus, is magnetic. Women feel it even from a distance. They sense the depth, the drive, the detachment, and it draws them in like gravity. That's what makes her miss you. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine a rare fragrance. It enters the room, lingers for a moment, and then fades. It doesn't overwhelm, it haunts. It makes you chase the memory. That's who you must become. Not overpowering, not needy, but unforgettable. The kind of man who walks away and leaves her wondering if she'll ever breathe you in again. That's the push-pull dynamic. You pull with your presence. You push with your silence. Together, they create tension. And tension is the birthplace of passion. Stop over-communicating. Stop proving your worth. A lion does not roar to prove he's a lion. He just walks. And the jungle takes notice. Now let's break this down into action steps. Step 1. After a great interaction, pull back. Not to punish, but to elevate. Let her wonder. Let her reflect. Step 2. Delay your responses. Not to frustrate her, but to deepen the mystery. Step 3. Fill your life with purpose. Don't just pretend to be busy. Be busy. Building win. Grow. Your time must become sacred. Step 4. Master emotional detachment. Do not rely on her reactions to validate your masculinity. You validate yourself. Step 5. Disappear with dignity. When the time comes, leave her with a sense of what if. Not everything needs closure. Some things are better left as questions. Remember, women don't miss the man who was always around. They miss the man who left a mark. That's who you must be. The man who made her feel something, then vanished like a dream. Do not be afraid of distance. Do not be afraid of silence. They are your allies, your sharpest weapons, your secret source. You are not here to entertain her boredom. You are here to awaken her soul, through presence and absence, through calm and mystery. That's high-value energy. That's stoic power in modern form. And if you're reading this, you're not here by accident. You are meant to hear this today. You are not like other men. You are called to lead, not follow. You are called to stand tall, not beg. Start today. Reclaim your edge. Don't just be present, be unforgettable. Walk with calm power. Speak with intention. Withdraw with purpose. And when you're gone, really gone, let her feel the void you leave behind. That's how high-value men speak. That's how they're remembered. That's how you make her miss you. Badly. Now, if this awakens something in you, if you know you've been playing small, giving too much, texting too often, it's time to reclaim your power. Drop a comment right now saying, I choose silence. I choose power. Hit that like button if you're ready to elevate. Subscribe for more ancient truths repackaged for modern warriors. And share this with a man who needs to hear the call to rise. 5. The art of leaving her wanting more. There's a quiet power that belongs only to the men who understand timing, silence, and restraint. The high-value men shaped by ancient Stoic wisdom. One of the most magnetic qualities of such men is their mastery of the art of leaving her wanting more. Unlike the average man who tries to prolong every interaction out of fear of losing the moment, the high-value man knows exactly when to step away. He understands that mystery, when used correctly, is more seductive than words. He exits the conversation at its peak, not because he's done, but because he knows the human mind craves closure, and the absence of it creates desire. This tactic is not manipulation, it's emotional intelligence. Just like a skilled artist knows when to step back from the canvas, a high-value man knows when to walk away and let his impression linger. He might smile and say with confidence, I've got to run, but I'd really love to continue this another time, leaving her with curiosity and anticipation dancing in her heart. That unfinished emotional note becomes the melody she plays in her mind over and over. And soon, what she remembers is not just the conversation, but how he made her feel. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And the high-value man reacts to each interaction with self-control and purpose. But what truly elevates a man to this level isn't just his exit, it's how and when he returns. This brings us to the second part of the dance, re-engaging, mastering the art of timing. High-value men don't rush to fill silence because they're not afraid of space. In fact, they use space as a tool to let longing and reflection do their work. Attraction grows in absence. Emotions amplify in stillness. But, and here's the catch, too much space, and she may begin to detach. Too little, and she feels crowded. So what's the secret? Timing. It's the fine-tuned art of knowing when to reappear, not when you feel the urge, but when she's most likely to feel the gap of your presence. This requires awareness, patience, and a strong internal compass. You need to read between the lines of your last conversation, sense the rhythm of her energy, and strike when your presence would be most welcomed. As the ancient Chinese proverb says, tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. High-value men wait calmly, not anxiously. And when they do re-engage, it is never casual, never random, it's always intentional, always meaningful. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They finally re-engage, but they come in shallow. They slide into her messages with hey or what's up, as if she were just another notification. That's not how high-value men operate. Re-engaging with depth is the third pillar of this Stoic approach. When you return, you must pick up the emotional thread from where you left it, but go deeper. You must show her that you were not only listening, but remembering. That you didn't just hear her words, you valued them. If she spoke about a challenge at work, you return with, hey, I was thinking about what you said regarding that project. How did it go? That subtle sentence holds the weight of attention, of care, of distinction. It separates you from the sea of men who only talk to be heard, but never to understand. It tells her, I see you. In a world where everyone is shouting for attention, your silence and depth become irresistible. This echoes the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. And your thoughts, if they are coloured by genuine curiosity and respect for her inner world will leave a permanent mark on her soul. Here's the truth most never realize. Emotional connection doesn't require constant contact. It requires meaningful moments. A high-value man doesn't measure connection by frequency, but by impact. And that impact is built in the details: your tone, your timing, your memory, your restraint. When you're with her, you're fully present. When you're gone, your presence still lingers. This approach isn't about playing games. It's about being intentional. Women don't miss the man who was always available. They miss the man who made them feel seen, understood, and valued, and then gave them the space to realize it. Real life offers countless examples of this wisdom. Think about the men in your own life, perhaps a wise uncle, a calm mentor, or a friend who never speaks often but always says the right thing at the right time. These men don't chase validation, and yet they receive deep respect. They don't dominate conversations, but people remember their words. That's what you must become, not loud, but unforgettable. High-value men are like a rare book. You can't read it all at once, but every time you open it, there's more to discover. And that makes a woman crave the next chapter. If you're a man between 35 and 70, understand this. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering your emotions so you can lead with calm, depth, and grace. When you do this, you elevate every interaction with a woman into something rare and nourishing. Don't speak to impress her. Speak to connect. Don't chase her. Create an emotional atmosphere where she wants to return. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Don't waste time with meaningless chatter and needy behavior. Invest your energy in understanding her soul, and you'll become the kind of man she not only desires, but respects and remembers. So next time you're in a conversation with a woman who intrigues you, be fully present, but know when to walk away. Let her miss you not because you've disappeared, but because your presence created something real. When you return, do it with purpose. Touch the emotional chord you struck before, but take it one note deeper. This is the rhythm of the high-value man. This is how you build not just attraction, but connection that lasts. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever tried this approach? Or have you experienced what it feels like when a woman actually misses you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear. And if you found this message powerful, take a moment to pass it on. Someone in your circle might need to be reminded of the strength found in silence, the power of presence, and the beauty of walking away at just the right time. Conclusion: communication is more than just words. High-value men understand how to create emotional depth, mystery, and anticipation in every interaction. They speak in a way that leaves a lasting impression, creating space for a woman to miss them. When they re-engage, they do so with purpose, deepening the emotional connection each time. The high-value man doesn't overstay his welcome. He knows that emotional absence creates emotional desire. It's through this masterful dance of presence and absence that he keeps her intrigued, never fully revealing himself, but always hinting at something deeper, something worth discovering. He speaks with purpose, with intent, and each interaction is like a puzzle piece that leads her closer to a profound emotional connection, but only when she's ready for it. His silence isn't insecurity, it's strategic, allowing the mystery to build. Just like the great Stoic, Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change, life is opinion." By embracing this philosophy, he understands that his value doesn't come from seeking approval, but from remaining constant in his own worth and allowing others to discover it in their own time. In modern life, this approach is powerful. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude mystery and confidence, the ones who don't rush to fill every moment with words or actions, but instead create space for desire to build. When you stop chasing, you'll notice a shift in how women respond to you. They begin to gravitate toward you, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've created an emotional space they can't resist. And when you leave, they'll miss you, not out of desperation, but out of genuine emotional connection. You have become a man who attracts, not by force, but by allowing your presence and your words to hold weight. High-value men understand this. They don't need to chase. They only need to be themselves, and the rest will follow. So remember this. Control your presence, speak with purpose, and let her miss you, because, in the end, a high-value man never chases. He attracts. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has given you valuable insights into how high-value men can speak to women and create lasting attraction. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with others who could benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more wisdom on Stoicism and relationships. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any feedback or would like to discuss anything further about today's content, feel free to leave your comments below. Your opinions matter, and I'm always here to engage with you. Remember, the journey to becoming a high-value man isn't just about what you say, but how you live. Stay wise, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.